big time. Come on, let's go. My name is CK, and this is going to be my review video for GGD's new drum library, One Kit Wonder, the Downbeat. GGD absolutely sailed it out of the park with this drum library. So here we go. Let's dive into everything that this library has to offer. This is GGD's first One Kit Wonder library that's available for their standalone plugin. What is a One Kit Wonder, you might be asking if you're not familiar with GGD. These drum libraries are simplified drum libraries. Unlike their flagship libraries, One Kit Wonders have less shells and less cymbals, but that equals less dollars. But what's great about this One Kit Wonder in particular is since it's in GGD's standalone plugin, you're getting that super powerful engine that's running some of the flagship kits like Modern and Massive 2 and the Matt Garska kit, which translates to the fact that you now have so much control, versatility, and customization possibilities that we certainly didn't have before when these libraries were getting released through Contact, which also means you're going to be getting the same great hi-hat functionality and polyphonic aftertouch at your E-kit, as in what is currently delivering with Modern and Massive 2 and the Matt Garska kit. Which, speaking of customization, if you liked the sound of those drums in particular for that demo video, that's a custom preset that I built for this library that I'd spent a lot of time on, and I think that it sounds amazing. So if you're gonna get a copy of this library and you'd like to play with my custom preset, guess what? It's available for free at arcanearrow.com. And on that page, you're gonna also see a video of how to install the presets. It's super easy. I hope that you love it. I hope that it inspires you to want to start building out some of your own custom presets. And then of course, make some incredible music with it. So if you are interested in getting a copy of this library for yourself, guess what? It retails for $99, but we are in an introductory time window, so they are officially holding the introductory sale of this library for $85. So with everything that you're gonna get with this drum library for $85, in my opinion, that makes this a no-brainer and an absolute must-have drum library. Now, if it isn't already obvious, I think this library is incredible. So let's dive into it. And this is going to be no particular order, no favoritism, because I think it's all amazing. So this was literally me just clicking through the plugin as I took my notes, and we're just going to go through each function of this library one at a time. This library delivers with 12 beautifully captured individual instruments, which are 2 snares, a kick drum, 3 toms, hi-hats, splash, 2 crash cymbals, and a China cymbal. Now, since we're here looking at the GUI, there's a cool function available with this that Nolly was super excited to let me know is available in this library, and that is the ability to expand the view. Nolly did say that this GUI is capable of expanding up to 4K, so depending on what kind of monitor you're actually looking at, you can make this kit humongous, which is not only just so beautiful to look at for any of us out there that tend to be the older we get, looking at our screens more like this, it certainly makes working with this drum library a lot easier. Now, going back to the instruments that are available with this library, I just have 2 words: side snare. I love side snares. And I am on record with previous videos griping about some of the GGD libraries not coming with side snares. Where is the side snare? Where is the side snare? So I'm not going to apologize for that, but the fact that we are now getting these gorgeous kits delivered with side snares. The One Kit Wonder new metal library came with a side snare. And now the Downbeat comes with a side snare. When I first opened up this library, I just looked at the kit and I was like, yep, this is built for me. This is built straight for me. All of the individual instruments sound so gorgeous, especially just if you turn off all the effects and just have the complete raw sample play. So good. But I want to make a point right now that out of all of the GGD libraries that have been released, these hi-hats, easily my favorite hi-hats to ever deliver with a GGD library. One of the remarks that I had for the GGD team, and this is a while ago now, was in regard to the hi-hats that even at its most closed, some of the hats still sound a little open. Whatever they did to perform and capture these hats, when I think of a closed, tight pressed hi-hat, this is the sound I expect to hear. Oh, yes. And then I also want to point out that the open hats are so beautiful. Just listen to the ring out and the decay of a fully open hi-hat hit and how the hats are going to like continue to wash and kind of resonate together. Oh, it is a great time to be using drum libraries, let me tell you. Moving on. Since we are in GGD's standalone plugin, we now have access from the main drum kit screen to independent instrument levels, attributes, which also includes pitch shifting, and one-shots. One-shots will be delivering with the side snare, the main snare, and the kick drum. And as you can see with this pull-down menu, there's only one shot available that you can then also pitch shift and tune to taste with your mix. But I certainly think that there's an open possibility here that the GGD team might be able to add more one-shots in for these snares and kick, which if that happens, then boy, customization infinity. Now moving on to the mixing page. This is going to be the same mixing board that we're all starting to get really familiar with if you already own Modern and Massive 2 or the Matt Garska kit. And I got to give kudos to GGD again for the way that they developed this mixing panel, because to me, it just makes sense. It's so easy to navigate and so easy to understand where signals are coming from or going to, and also makes it incredibly easy to dial in a custom sound if that's something you're wanting to do. Every single channel now comes with a compressor, EQ, bus sends to a parallel compression channel, and a reverb channel. The effects that you see on the channel strips there, like the compressor and the EQ, you can't open those and manipulate anything like compressor thresholds or EQ band adjustments, but they give you just a very simple fader that values from 0 to 100, which pretty much means no effect at all the way up to you're cooking with whatever they decided was a good preset mix or compressor setting for that in particular instrument. And then all you have to do is play around with those dials yourself, and you're going to be able to hear a world of opportunity for sound as you start to familiarize yourself with this library and its mixing effects capabilities. You can invert the phase on each independent channel, which opens up a whole nother box of custom sound that you can achieve. You get full panning control for each individual channel, and your master bus or your main out channel also has 2 effects that you could turn on and off for taste. You get a polish effect, which to me sounds like a mixture between a channel strip, slash saturator slash just more extra EQ, maybe a multi-band compressor. You'll just have to play around with the dial yourself to hear the sound differences, but that is a beautiful effect to have at the last stage of all these drums and effects. And then the very last effect slot before those drums come out of your monitors into your ears is a limiter. I definitely think the limiter has been tastefully used with some of the presets that come with this library. For my custom preset, I actually didn't turn the limiter on because the sound for me just was a little bit better with it off. And a quick note about this limiter, one thing I did find, if you start playback and you're listening to the drums, you're gonna hear a difference between having the limiter on. Even if you turn it all the way down to 0, you're still gonna get some flavor additions with that limiter being turned on. Even though the value is at 0, there is gonna be a difference in your finished sound with the limiter on or off. I only mention that if you're gonna build out your custom kit. Just wanted to make sure you knew that you could actually achieve a much different drum sound by just turning the limiter off as opposed to turning the fader all the way down to 0. You can reorder the mixing channels if you so want to. Like let's say you're trying to dial in the parallel compressor channel and you want to be able to actually see what the levels are of like your kick or your snare drum. You can just click on the header of that channel and just drag it over. And then when you're done, you can just drag it right back. By default, everything is routed to the main master bus channel before it goes into your DAW, and that will produce a stereo feed into your DAW. But they also give you a really easy, convenient way to individually route instruments out of the GGD plugin into your own aux channels in your DAW. And you would do this if you just want to enhance the mix of these drums even further than what you can just do inside the plugin itself. You have the ability to adjust levels of every independent instrument within the overhead and the room channels. And then what's really great is you can turn on the bus channel sends to the parallel compression or the reverb. And these little dials right here adjust the level of that in particular channel being sent to the parallel compression channel or the reverb. You get 3 different reverb modes and you get 2 compressor modes, parallel compression and reverb. 2 very important steps when mixing drums to be able to achieve a wide variety of dynamic punch and character, as well as space. So really happy to see that right here in this library, and then just adjusting the fader to taste. Another chef's kiss. Moving on to the mappings page. This is also going to look very familiar if you're a previous owner of Modern Massive 2 or Matt Garska. You still get a gigantic list of pre-existing software and hardware configurations, making it crazy easy for you to just plug and play with whatever MIDI controller you're using, like an E-kit. Something that I want to point out that's important for me in my world, and probably any other E-kit player out there. If you select a mapping configuration and then you want to reroute one of your pads or triggers to a different instrument, unlike other Kontakt versions of GGD libraries or other developers of drum libraries, after you turn on the arm function to capture your in particular MIDI notes, you need to make sure that you disarm it manually with a mouse click. Because if you don't do that, the arming function stays on. Nolly personally did tell me that there's a chance with potential future updates, they might update the libraries within their GGD plugin to auto disarm after it receives a MIDI note. But they would have to make sure that they do that across the whole board of libraries that they currently have, so the 3. And I don't know what kind of resources it takes to be able to program that kind of functionality across 3 libraries. So I guess that's going to come down to you and the community. Does it bother you to have to disarm the MIDI learn function within these libraries? Or do you just consider it like learning a muscle memory and then it's no big deal? For me personally, it's no big deal. I would like to see it auto turn off, but it's no deal breaker for me, for sure. You still get this extra volume knob on each individual instrument, which is super valuable if you want to increase or decrease the level of an instrument that has multiple zones, like the ride cymbal. If you just wanted that bell to be screaming loud, but you don't want to turn up the whole ride cymbal, here's where you can do that. Or the beautiful new rim clicks that are available on your toms. For my custom preset, I actually maxed out all the rim clicks across the board on each tom. But if this volume control wasn't available here for just that part of the tom, then my only other option would be to turn up the entire tom or the entire ride cymbal, which thankfully you don't have to do. And there's a couple other developers of drum libraries out there. You know who you are. This is a function that I think is necessary and should come with every drum library that gets delivered. The Downbeat also comes with an insane amount of pre-written grooves for you to just drag and drop into your timeline. The Downbeat also comes with a pretty healthy amount of presets. And what makes these presets special is for every preset designed, they went ahead and made a multi-out version of that preset, similar to what I pointed out before about routing individual channels to your DAW. You don't have to go in and assign all those channels manually. You can just do it by selecting the multi-out preset. I think I'm going to use the baseball analogy again. GGD looked at the fences and said, no problem. This library is a home run in every single way possible. If this video has made you hungry for this library, go satiate that craving by going over to ggd.co and get your copy of One Kit Wonder, the Downbeat. Disclaimer time. This library was provided to me from GGD for the purpose of testing, mostly with my E-Kit. No money exchanged hands between GGD and myself, and they did not get to preview this video review before it went live. My name is CK. Arcane Arrow is my music project. As always, I'm so glad that you're here, and I will catch you all in the next video.